Hello, I'm Dana J. Smithers, and this is, I'm one of the Emotion Code Divas, and Helena Jehnichen is the other Emotion Code Divas. Even though there are lots of Emotion Code Divas out there, we are the Emotion Code Divas, and this is our Wednesday morning show. And yeah, so we've got a great show today. We're talking a lot. We're still on the whole month of May is dedicated to helping our viewers and people that we work with release excess weight, right? Weight that's not healthy. And we all know when that happens. I mean, we know there's times when, maybe we've gained a few pounds and that's okay. Maybe we're vacationing or something like that. But when it starts to get in the excessive category, it doesn't work so well. So I'm just going to start off this morning by talking about the angel card that I pulled. So interesting. This card says cleanse and detoxify. So perfect tip for today's work. It says, with great love and respect, we ask you to detoxify your precious and sensitive body. At your request, we'll help you to develop life-affirming ways to deal with stress, as well as ease any sorrow at shedding your old ways. Give your cares, worries, and concerns to us and feel the beautiful grace of your newly purified body. So that just fits in perfectly. So as an emotion code practitioner, I work with often with women entrepreneurs, but I do work with other women. Recently, Helena and I did a Emotion Code Diva show on grieving. So I've been working with people that are grieving, whether it's just, the loss of a job, the loss of a home, could be the loss of a person or an animal. So check out that show. You can just go to this site, TEC Divas, and you will see that episode. But today we're talking about something that Helena has actually been working on much longer than I have, although I do have a 4-session weight release program using the emotion code, law of attraction, and a few other tools that I have in my toolkit. But Helena, since this is so near and dear to your heart, I would just love for you to introduce yourself and let people know what you're going to be talking about today before we go into the 7 keys for conducting an emotion code session.
Good morning, Dana. I'm Helena Jehnichen. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist as well as a certified emotion code practitioner. I help people, men and women, stop smoking, release excess weight, overcome anxiety, and boost confidence. I have been practicing hypnotherapy now for, I think it's been about 60 years, and at the very core of it is a program that I've got. It's for weight release, and it uses the technique of having a virtual gastric band surgery in your mind, allowing
and
people.
Helena, I do have several clients that I've worked with that actually have had that procedure.
It's very intense, isn't it?
Very intense and painful, and they haven't actually lost the weight that they thought that they would. So I think doing it the way you're doing it is so much less invasive. And so you're going to be talking about that while I'm doing the session, but that's just great.
It is. It's wonderful. It's people are very happy with the program. They see the results and they create lifelong changes. So Dan, are we ready to do the 7 keys?
We are indeed ready to do that. So let's just go ahead and do it, Helena.
Okay. So I think that you have a copy of the book, the Emotion Code book by Dr. Bradley Nelson.
I do, and that's what I'm showing right now. Anybody can buy this book. In fact, I've had a few people recently ask me how they could learn how to do the emotion code without actually becoming certified, and absolutely possible. Just go to Dr. Bradley Nelson.com, to his website. He's got courses there, but he's also got a lot of free resources. So you can also buy his book. And also I have downloaded the app, the Emotion Code app on my phone, and his book is actually on the app. as well as the chart. So it's an easy way to do it. And everything that Helena and I have learned has been based on the teachings in this book. So that's where you can start if you're wanting to find out more about it. So let's go ahead with the 7 keys, Helena.
So the first card that I'm holding up, the first key is permission. Dana, what's
Right.
that all about?
So as much as we may like to, if we see someone, limping a bit, or you can tell someone's got a migraine, or maybe you're in the waiting room in a doctor's office or hospital or something, and people are in pain. Unfortunately, we can't just go, we can say a silent prayer for them, but we can't just go ahead and start doing an emotion code session on them. We ask people's permission, and if we're not working, if we're going to be working with an animal, then the owner would become the surrogate, so we would ask their permission. And if it's a child still living at home or a very young child, then we would ask permission from the parent to work on the child.
That's right. And so our next key is proxy.
Yeah, so what proxy means is when the person is not able to be with us in person, then we will become, with their permission, their proxy, so that Helena and I will actually make a conscious effort to connect with them and their subconscious. With their permission, we become the proxy so that we can do the work. Because Helena and I, I've got a client later, actually we're doing FaceTime today, and I did a client yesterday. We just did it by phone. I've used Zoom, Skype. We can do the emotion code session without anybody having to be present with us, so we just become the proxy for them.
That's good. And so once we're the proxy for them, we're going to ask them a question. We're going to ask them the severity of the issue that they want to work on.
Exactly. So what that means is most people are going to have, if they're working with us, a severity between, say, 7 and 10. Our goal is to get that down 3, 2, 1, 0, so remove it from being painful. And sometimes we can do that in one session. Sometimes it might take a few more sessions. It depends on what the issue is, right? Some things will release more quickly. Helena and I often do monthly check-ins, or people check in with us, so they just have something that they know a quick session, quick 30-minute session will help them remove it. But if it's more than that, we're going to do 3 sessions on average, where we know that we can really dig a bit deeper. And oftentimes what people come to us with, they say what the issue is and the severity. Our job is to kind of peel down, and Helena and I decided that we would be sort of like peeling a rose. So so taking away the rose petals from what's going on for you, and there's this beautiful rosebud inside. And so that's what we're hoping to do, is get to that place of real deep healing. And so we're going to, just gently peel away the layers of that rose until we get down to what often the real issue is. And so we like to get that down to a very low number in terms of severity.
And the very next key is muscle testing.
Exactly. And so the whole point of what we're doing, the way that we do the testing and get rid of the emotions, is through muscle testing. So there's a lot of information about muscle testing on YouTube. Dr. Bradley Nelson has a lot. Helena and I have videos on it. But there's a person named Dr. David Hawkins, who I think was one of the pioneers in muscle testing. And he actually hooked people up to electrodes and things and did muscle testing on them. And that's how he came up with an energetic scale of emotions, starting with, grief and shame at the bottom, and then going all the way up to love and gratitude. So it can be scientifically measured. Helena and I are not scientists, but we do know how to do muscle testing, and in Dr. Bradley's book. Again, he's got about 6 techniques that you can use. You can find some on YouTube as well. But Helena, do you just want to show the audience, how our viewers, how you actually do your muscle testing?
I take these 2 fingers here and I link them into circles like this. And so my subconscious mind and my conscious mind have an agreement that when I ask a question, the answer is yes, my fingers lock together. And when the answer is no, they just slip apart. And it's not a lot of hard tugging. It's quite a gentle process. And it's just a sensitivity. I'm like, yep, that's a yes, that's a no.
Right. And those are the only 2 questions that we can ask. As I often tell my clients, some emotion code healers may be sensitives. I'm not a medium. I'm not a psychic. I, like Helena, have developed intuitive skills, and we're building those intuitive muscles. Every time I work with someone, I know that I can get a deeper into what I call an intuitive hit, or I get prompted to ask a question that I wouldn't normally think about to ask with that person. So when we're doing that muscle testing, we're asking for yes or no answers. And you may have all seen people do the muscle testing of a person putting out their arm and someone pressing on it, and just to see if they are muscle testable is by just putting slight pressure on their hand when they answer a yes or no question. So if it's a yes answer, their arm is going to stay stiff. If it's not, then it's going to go down. So we do the same way. So my muscle testing is this, thumb and index together, and then I take my 2 fingers from my other hand, and that's a yes for me. So again, rather than using the arm, because that would get very tiring on a person, we're doing this. So that's my yes, and if I get a no, then that's my no. So it's pretty quick and very clear about what the answer is. If there is some hesitation, then we'll tell you at the end something that you may want to do that may help change that.
Mm-hmm. So what are we muscle testing, Dana? Could it be the emotions that are listed on the emotion code chart?
Indeed it is, Helena. So we're going to be looking for, we're going to ask the question. So I'm going to ask the question of someone, which I'll be doing the muscle testing on, one of our viewers who is having some definite issues with binge eating, sugar cravings, and the party food. So when we're looking for the emotion, the actual emotion, I'm going to ask, maybe you could just hold that chart up again, Helena. So I'm going to ask the question, is it in column A? So if that's a yes, then I get this. If it's a no, then I'll just check, is it column B? Yes. And then I'm going to ask, is an even row? No. Is it an odd row? So then it's odd. So it's 1, 3, or 5. And then I just check in, is it 3? Yes. And it's in, let's say it's 3, column A. So I'm going to look at the words crying, discouragement, rejection, sadness, or sorrow. And so through my muscle testing and being the proxy, tapping into the subconscious, I will find out which one it is, crying, resentment, and then I'll just get a yes on that. And then I'm going to ask the question, does this belong to me? So remember that I've now become my client. So I'm going to ask, does this belong to me? And if I get a no like that, then I'm going to ask, is it inherited? And then I'll get a yes. And then I'm going to do, is it on the mother's side? No. Is it on the father's side? Yes. And then I'll go deeper. Is it on the father's side? That's a yes. Father's mother? No. So we just keep on going yes, no answers. And then we also work with a person's age. And as I said, since we are developing our intuition and intuitive muscles, we will know what other questions to ask. And sometimes the client something will pop up in their memory. But it's not necessary that we hear your stories, right? Because the longer Helena and I were talking about this earlier pre-show, that the longer you hold on to your stories, and if they're negative, the longer they're going to stay lodged in your body. And while I'm showing you a lemon, which we use to represent the size of what your trapped emotion can actually be like energetically, Dr. Nelson says it can be the size of a lemon up to the size of a cantaloupe. So if you've got your story in there, and you're telling it over and over and over and over and over, and you've never released it or learned how to use law of attraction, different mindset, or even NLP training, right? Where you start to tell yourself a different story. In fact, I was working with a young gal this morning, and it's maybe the fourth time I've heard her story about lack. So I emailed her and I said, "Are you ready to give up your story?" Because I think she didn't realize. And so I was doing a little bit of law of attraction training with her. Like, you tell yourself over and over, "I don't have any money. I'm too fat. I keep gaining weight. Everyone in my family is heavy. I've tried diets before. They don't work. I'll never lose the weight," right? So, well, ladies or gentlemen, if you keep telling yourself that story, congratulations. Good law of attraction, attracting. All right, Helena, what's next?
The next one is, how are we going to release those negative trapped emotions that we find, but with a magnet?
Yeah, that's perfect. So Helena and I, we have some similar magnets. I don't know which one she's got with her today.
I've got a combination.
Oh, different ones, yeah. So these are very, very strong magnets. But sometimes I get called to do an emotion code session just out wherever I am. And if I don't have my magnets with me, you can use your hand. Your hand is magnetic as well. So what we're doing is, once we have that emotion, let's say it's discouragement. We've got a yes, it's discouragement. Can I release it? Yes. Then what I'm going to do is ask for that release. So I've set that intention, and I take the magnet, because what's happening is that emotion is now kind of energetically lifting out of my body. And what I do with the magnet is I demagnetize it. So it's no longer has anything to hold on to. And how we do that is all energy medicine deals with a lot of acupuncture points, meridians, chakras. We can all do that kind of work. When we do this, we work with what's called the governing meridian. So we're going to take the magnets, and just above our lip, if we're doing it at our desk or not with the person, and we just do, if it's their emotion, we do 3 swipes over the head to the bottom of the neck, the top of the spine, 3 swipes. And if it's inherited, then we do 10. And if the person is actually there with us, we'll do it over their head all the way down their spine.
Very
so
good.
Helena, do we have some viewers?
We do. We have Natasha Paula Samuel, Sylvia Bellini. Both are
hey,
from
Sylvia. Hi, Natasha.
Yeah, they're both from the UK. And we have Alaska Misty in the house. Misty
Hashtag
Anderson.
Alaska Misty. Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, Misty's actually going to be one of the Emotion Code Divas on our special show on next Monday on Sexy, Healthy, Wealthy Women, right?
Yes.
On May 14th. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a great show.
Yes. Hey, Dana, just checking. Are we still Facebook Live? Because my phone just said we're not. But we could just continue broadcasting and recording and continue the show.
As far as I know, we are, Helena, but
maybe someone can let us know.
yeah, well, let's just carry on. Yeah,
that's right. So my favorite part is waiting for this key, because I'm always wanting
exactly.
to.
I need some water right now too.
Hydrated practitioner.
That's good.
Yes, good. Dana, I'm sitting in a hotel room in lovely Victoria, and I'm surrounded by the events, floral bouquets for all the different dinner events.
Oh.
So my nose is just a little bit itchy.
Yeah, actually, Emotion Code is great for allergies.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So those are the keys that we go through. So I'm actually going to be working on a woman that I met. I believe she came to one of the workshops I was doing. I think it was a vision board workshop that I was doing, and her name is Gurpreet. And I'm going to go ahead and do an emotion code session on her.
Hey, Dana, how could you do an emotion code session when she's not either on the phone with you or in video or even on Facebook? How does that happen?
Exactly. Well, what I've done, and I've asked her permission, and I'm her proxy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. She's told me that the severity is around 8. She does do a little bit of binge eating, so I know you were going to talk about that because there's different types of eating that are serious disorders and others that can be treated a little bit more gently with emotion code and other things that I know Helena does in her session. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I've got the severity, I've got her permission and her proxy. So I'm just going to go ahead and find out what the trapped emotions are that are there. I'm going to be using my emotion code chart to do that. So Helena, I'm just going to unplug while I go ahead and do this work for Gurpreet, and she can let us know. She's actually at work today, so she's going to let us know after how this worked and how she's feeling about everything that we're doing right now. All right.
Very good. All right. So, as you know, if you've been watching, I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And as a hypnotherapist, I see people and I help them release excess weight. One of my go-to programs is the virtual gastric band. So what this means is in the office, when people see me, I'm also doing this now online, we've been working great, is they will have a surgery in their mind. And that surgery in their mind will create that pouch, that golf ball sized pouch stomach, because we're going to be placing a band around the stomach. So in their mind, which is very powerful, they believe and know that they have that gastric band surgery. And so now they just have a small golf ball sized stomach. And so that means they can only eat smaller amounts of food. So combining with the hypnosis and the hypnotherapy, they learn to eat slowly and consciously. Because we know that the mind, the brain, and the stomach, it takes some time for the stomach to send the signals and the brain to receive it that actually we are full. So that's sort of the core basis, that they will eat smaller amounts of food, feel fuller faster, learning to eat slowly and consciously. And then I add in LOA, which is the law of attraction. Each and every one of my clients, I ensure that they understand the core understanding that the words that they're using are creating their thoughts, creating either a positive or negative vibe or emotion, creating their results. So when they come into the office, I ask them what do they want. Often they'll start with saying, well, I don't want to be fat, and I don't want to eat sugar, and I don't want to be lazy. I'm like, okay, that's great. It's what you don't want. What is it that you want? Oh, well, I want to be thin and vibrant and healthy and energetic and be able to tie my shoelaces, go up and down the stairs. Ah, that's what you want. So now we use hypnosis to get the suggestion implanted into the subconscious mind, because hypnosis is just fantastic for accessing the subconscious mind and implanting new ideas, new behaviors, new thoughts. You see, your subconscious mind does not know the difference between an actual experience and one that produces an emotion, and an emotion that you fabricate by thought alone. So that's why the virtual gastric band works so well, because your mind doesn't know the difference. If it believes that you had the surgery, then you've had the surgery, and the results will be that you can only eat smaller amounts of food. Now, since learning the emotion code process, I have been adding that into all of my sessions, my hypnotherapy sessions, but also my weight release sessions, because it just works so well for releasing people's foods that they don't want to eat. Usually the first thing that people want to give up is potatoes, French fries, chips, white potatoes. And then it's often pasta and rice, bread, because those are all carbohydrates, which are actually sugar. They're just sugar. They're fuel for your body. They get you going and your body wants to use that up. But people that are excess weight have excess inventory. And by feeding your body the sugar in carbohydrate format or even sugar, like in chocolate bars and sweets and pop and stuff like that, your body never gets the chance to tap into that excess inventory and use it up. So with the hypnosis, the emotion code, we work with the subconscious mind, instilling new ideas and new habits, new beliefs. The emotion code does the work there too and helps change and release things very rapidly. I use law of attraction so people are speaking, thinking, wanting, desiring what it is that they truly want, helping them remove the don'ts, nots, and no's from their vocabulary. And the last one is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's a fantastic modality. It has many different techniques. Sometimes people are emotional eaters and their subconscious mind is stuck with habits from way back when they were a child. Could you imagine having a bad day when you were a child? Maybe you come home from school and it wasn't so good, or maybe you hurt yourself or something sad happened in your life and the people around you go, "Oh, that's okay, dear. Just have a cookie. Have a piece of cake. Have some toast and jam." Now, all of a sudden, when you're older, the idea when you're having a bad day or feeling emotionally drained or empty, oh, I know. The subconscious mind is very smart. It remembers, oh yeah, have some toast and jam. Have a cookie. Have a piece of cake. Feel better. It's just like my smokers. My smokers, they've got all sorts of reasons why they smoke because they want to relax and they want to they're stressed out. But really, what it is their subconscious mind is way stuck back when they were teenagers to when it was cool to have a cigarette and it felt good to be around their friends. And so, they come home and they have a bad day, or they're at work, they have a bad day, they go, "Oh, I need a cigarette. I need a cigarette." Who needs a cigarette? Who needs pop? Who needs a cookie? Who needs a piece of cake or a candy just to tie you over? That's just the words that you're saying, and your subconscious mind is acting on your past programming. So, Dan, it looks like you're done, and yeah. That was actually a really fun session. I really enjoy helping people release excess weight, and you have many tools in your toolkit. I have many tools in my toolkit. And the result I find for my clients is, yes, they've released some weight because it's about a 4-week process. They feel good about that, but more so, they feel great about themselves. And they've got then the motivation and the desire and the want to continue on their own. A lot of people come and just sort of check in every couple of months or so. But unlike the real surgery where you have the gastric band and they tie it off for real, and then you go home and you're feeling hungry, angry, lonely, tired. I want the food. People will start to just eat again and regain all that weight. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't hear all of that, but I did hear that. And I know that that's happened with two of my clients that they're sisters. They actually had the operation, both of them. But now they've come to me because what we're finding is it's all those trapped emotions that are there. But I didn't hear what you said, but I'm sure you touched on this, that it's important that you're eating nutritious food. So, I'm sure you talked about the healthy fats and.
I didn't get to that, but
okay, well, we'll be doing that as well
do it another
anyway.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. But, healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, there are things that are good for you. So go ahead and eat that. But what I found is I went on a weight release program. That's how I actually created the program that I have, but incorporated exercise, just shifting the mindset. I wanted to release a certain amount of weight, but more importantly, I wanted to feel healthy.
Yes.
Again. So I wasn't so focused on the pounds, or maybe it's kilograms for other people, but I wasn't so much focused on the actual number of the weight that I was releasing, but more so on just feeling better and eating better. And I do find that sometimes it can be seasonal as well, because here, on the west coast of Canada, and certainly in many places in England, where we have those rainy months and we don't have the sunshine, which we talked about in the grieving cycle. You talked about the serotonin and all of that, how important that is. So that can affect your mood for eating as well, for sure. But
Oh,
it's you feeling good about your body weight. That's the most important thing. It's not what somebody else says or what you should be, or how you see a super thin model that we all know has been photoshopped or is
yeah.
is in very serious dysfunctional mode. Well, we won't go into that. That's a whole other topic.
Just one of the nicest comments I ever had from a client who went through the virtual gastric band process with me was, she looked at me, she goes, I didn't get what I came for. I got so much more. I actually now love myself.
Exactly. That's it right there, right? It's all about that. So that's a perfect segue into the trapped emotions that I released for Gurpreet. So we started at an 8. We did get to a 0. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be gone at this time. It just means that those trapped emotions that were preventing Gurpreet from making good choices and getting rid of the cravings and, oh, I've got to do the binge eating, those are gone. But remember, these emotions, like we said about the lemon, right? They're trapped all over your body, and something else can trigger something. And since eating is emotional, and boom, there you go. You're back to it. But the more emotion code sessions you can have, working with Helena, with the hypnosis as well, or myself with the law of attraction, we can get it down so it becomes manageable for you and you're mindful. So I removed creative insecurity, low self-esteem, trapped emotion of feeling worthless, being taken for granted, jealousy, lost, feeling lost, and also the trapped emotion of pride, but that was inherited from your grandfather on your father's side. So I released that. Also the trapped emotion of depression. And then there were 2 trapped emotions together, and we call that, according to Dr. Brad, a psychic trauma. So I had the trapped emotion of hopelessness, and I don't have another lemon here, but let's just pretend that my rescue remedy is another trapped emotion. So hopelessness and lack of control. So these 2, when they're a psychic trauma, they stick together. So it becomes even, more important that we not only break them apart, but that we get rid of both of them. So that's just what came up for Gurpreet. So Gurpreet, I know that you're busy at work today, but you do watch our show. So go ahead and comment and just let us know how you felt after this session, what you noticed with your eating, and also if you've become more mindful about what you're putting into your body. And even though the why is important, again, Helene and I encourage you to let go of the stories that you've been telling yourself and write some new stories
That's right.
in your mind. Yeah,
Yeah. Rewire your mind.
exactly. All right. So, all right. So I wanted to let you know about a special episode coming up on Monday, May 14th. We've got Misty Anderson will be in the house. Permelia Parham will be in the house. So we've got Misty from Alaska, Permelia from Parksville area, Nanaimo, and then we've got Debbie Talbert from Florida, and then we've got Cindy Trost from Colorado. So we've got a kind of a North American-wide Emotion Code Divas on the show on Monday. And what's the topic again, Helena? And why did we pick that?
Because I started talking about it, but it's called Sexy, Healthy, Wealthy Women. Doesn't that sound powerful? Just to become sexy, healthy, wealthy women? Now, the question in there is like, what does sexy mean? What does healthy mean? And what does actually wealthy mean? And all of our panel members are all going to give tips and tricks on how they see those words, sexy, healthy, wealthy women, and how they live their life so we can all be sexy, healthy, wealthy women.
Right, and each of us has a different story, and even though we're all emotion code practitioners, we do all have different tools in our toolkits, and I think you'll find some of the stories very interesting of what some of us have come through and how we've been able to heal ourselves or look for other healing remedies besides the medical world, which is needed for certain things, no question. But there's a lot more energy healing going on in the world, and Helena and I are delighted to be part of that for Women's Journey. So next week's show, Helena, we're still on the food, getting rid of food cravings.
Food cravings. Is it portion control?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It is portion
Yeah,
control.
portion size.
Yes, how wonderful it would be to have a virtual gastric band operation so you only could eat a small amount of food.
Yeah.
Nutritious food.
Yeah.
Food that's really fueling your body.
Yeah, and if you're not going to do the virtual gastric band, then yeah, there are other ways that you can be very mindful of portion size, and we'll give you some tips on plate size and eating when you're hungry and having those snacks available and nice containers and things like that. Because if you go to your fridge and there's no healthy food sitting there, like I have a tray of carrots and radishes and some avocado and celery and cucumber, so that's my go-to tray. But if that isn't there, sometimes I go to the cupboard, and the cupboard has no.
It's kind of interesting. The cupboard has a lot of no stuff because it's all processed.
Yeah.
It's not alive.
Yeah, and it can stay there for years, right? Yeah, so the fresh stuff is going to be so much better, and with the weather changing as well, I'm so looking forward to going to the markets that we have all around us and buying local and also helping my body be healthier. So that's our show today from the Emotion Code Divas. Please share. Again, this is a fairly new segment that we're doing, and yeah, we look forward to working with someone on next week's show. So that will be anybody that's just having a hard time with plate size. And so let us know if you'd like a session. And also, as far as plate size goes, something that I notice a lot of people do, Helena, has to do with the party food or holidays, or even when I go networking. And people have paid for the dinner and the buffet. My eyes just pop open, and there's got to be a mindset there. Oh well, it's here, and I'll just fill my plate up. It's free. I paid for it. All of that. So that's not really a good story to be telling yourself, because chances are you're going to be putting a few of those desserts on there that look kind of tasty, especially if you've got a kind of a sweet tooth, right?
Yeah, the buffet design is very interesting. I used to be in a catering business. You put your carbohydrates, your breads with lovely butter and bread and salad with all the creamy sauces and stuff at the front and fill the plates up that way. And yeah, then the protein is always the last thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I always go through the line first to see what it's there that I can actually eat, right? All right, then. So bye from us. And thanks so much for watching. And again, please share if you like the show. We love to hear your comments, and Helena and I will always answer them for you. So thanks so much for watching.